What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Dylan back here for another video, and today is the final stop on the three-part series talking about the primetime schedules for the 2018 NFL season. I talked about Thursday and Sunday Night Football before in the first two parts, so go check those videos out. I had a lot of fun talking about those schedules, and we're here at the final stop, Monday Night Football. And guys, I'm kind of sad this is the last spot that we're going to be talking about because this is not a great schedule. I think this is the weakest schedule of the three primetime nights, and I'm kind of disappointed by that. Monday Night Football last season was surprisingly pretty good. I think it was actually the best between Thursday, Sunday, and Monday Night Football. I thought Sunday was going to easily do that, but Monday had some really good games last year and some competitive battles and some games I wasn't expecting to be very good to actually have some really great finishes. So I thought Monday Night Football was surprisingly good last year. This year, looking at just the teams in general and the strength of schedule, I don't think it really compares to either. I think it's at the bottom. But there are still some pretty good games we're going to talk about here. If I'm a little bit more negative, I apologize, but I will be going in depth as to why I rank these games here, and we're going to have a good time talking about it. So let's go ahead and get into ranking these games. This is the most amount of games between any schedule of the three. There's 17 games to talk about because week 1 has 2 games. So let's go ahead and get started. In last place here at number 17, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 3. The reason this is in last place is because there's no Jameis Winston. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. If Jameis Winston was in this game, I think it could be raised a couple more spots, but having to see Ryan Fitzpatrick go against the Pittsburgh Steelers after having to face the first 2 weeks, it's not going to be very good. Because like the Buccaneers' first 3 weeks without Jameis Winston is going to be awful. I think they play the Saints, the Eagles, and then the Steelers. Like, that's insanely difficult. The Steelers, they're just going to come in and try to absolutely dominate the Buccaneers, make a statement saying that we're going to absolutely just destroy this team, and that's what they need to do. I just don't see any excitement because I don't like Jameis Winston, but regardless, I don't think they're going to have that much offensive production without him. So I would bench any Buccaneers players in fantasy football in the first 3 weeks. I'm just going to be honest with you. So yeah, Steelers going to absolutely dominate this game. This will not be very close. That's why it's in last place. At number 16, we have the New York Jets taking on the Detroit Lions in week 1. This is the opener to Monday Night Football, and I don't think it starts off with a bang. The Detroit Lions, they are getting their new head coach, Matt Patricia, of course. I want to see how that goes, and seeing it in week 1 will be interesting, especially I want to see the run game be very good with Kerryon Johnson basically taking the hold there. But the New York Jets, I don't think are going to be very competitive. I actually did like what I saw out of them with Josh McCown last season, but as an overall team, it's just not exactly a team that I would think is going to put on very many competitive games. And week 1, I just think the Lions are going to come out there and be super productive. I think we're going to see their offense really just dismantle the Jets' defense. And I know the Jets got some good pieces in the offseason for their defense, but I just don't see this being a competitive battle, especially with the questions on offense. I did rank the running backs and the receivers for the Jets really, really low, so you know how I feel about them, and you know how I feel about how productive they can be, which is not very. So I don't think they're much of a challenge to the Detroit Lions, and I think they're going to win pretty easily. At number 15, we have the New York Giants taking on the San Francisco 49ers in week 10. The reason I have this game here at number 15 is because I still have no clue what the Giants are going to bring to the table this year. And the 49ers, through 10 weeks, we'll see how they are. But I'm not exactly sure if they're going to be a playoff team. I think there's a little bit of an overrated hype to them. I did say that next season they were going to make the playoffs. So they might be on that pace and they could have a really good season, but I've heard some people make some very bold claims about them, so we'll see. The New York Giants, they have the talent, not really on the offensive line, but they have the talent on offense to get it done. Of course, you have your great running back you just drafted, Saquon Barkley. I want to see him get it done. And the great talent of receiver with Sterling Shepard and, of course, Odell Beckham Jr. The defense, still pretty solid. A lot of turmoil last season. I'm hoping to see that go away for them if they want to succeed at all. But I just don't know how much of a competitive game this is going to be because these teams really struggled last season. Their game last year was awful. So let's see how it goes here in 2018. I'm not exactly sure what what's going to be brought to the table, if it's going to be a high-scoring or low-scoring game, but I'm not too excited to see this matchup. At number 14, we have the New York Giants take on the Atlanta Falcons in Week 7. Yes, the Giants are here again. The Atlanta Falcons are a really big question mark for me. I have no idea what they're going to bring to me as well. So these two teams, I guess, are a good match. But I think either way, I think the Atlanta Falcons offense is just going to dismantle the Giants. I feel like this is going to be a shutout. I'm sorry, I know that's kind of a question mark, and Giants fans are going to get on me about that, but I just feel like the Atlanta Falcons offense is going to be too much for the Giants defense. And Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, I think that's a great combo. I feel like they're going to go out there and make some big plays. Matt Ryan, maybe he's going to have a bigger season than he did last year, because I just don't think him and the offensive coordinator, Steve Sarkisian, really got along. I don't think they made a lot of good plays together, and that's just the chemistry I hope is stronger for them in year 2, and maybe they'll provide something better. But in terms of a head-to-head matchup, I just don't think it's very strong between the Giants and the Falcons. I think the Falcons take this one pretty easily. So 14, Giants, Falcons. At number 13, we have the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills in Week 8. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Patriots versus AFC East teams matchups. They're just not that fun to me, because either the Patriots just kill them, or you see the other team, like the Bills or the Jets or the Dolphins, actually pick up a surprising divisional victory that has to be brought up by the commentary team. Like, oh, it always happens once a year kind of thing. But it's actually not really that good of a game for the other, against the Patriots either. Like, the Patriots don't come out and play. So it's just a really bad combination of two teams. With that being said, I don't know which team will win this matchup. I think it's a good thing for the Bills to have it in their home stadium, everything like that. But home field advantage. But the Patriots, of course, are going to be out there trying to keep their playoff goals ahead of them. Week 8, middle of the season, they really want to know what kind of team they have, what they're building, and maybe the Bills are trying to sneak in with that wild card. We did see them do that last season, so you never know. But in terms of just these kind of matchups, I've never been a big fan of. I don't like the two teams going against each other, and I hope for a better game, but I always kind of see these boring games between these teams here. So we did see some controversy last year with the Tre'Davious White-Gronk situation between them, so we'll see how it goes. I don't want to see that happen again, but I want to see something intriguing from these two teams. So at number 13, Patriots, Bills. At number 12, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos in Week 4. This is a matchup we usually see every Monday Night Football season, and in terms of these two teams, they're going to give us a much different game than we saw last year. We saw the Chiefs dominate the Broncos, but then the Broncos tried to come back, but their offense was just atrocious. This year, the Chiefs have Pat Mahomes as their QB. Very excited to see what he can do. I've already brought it up in this series, but I think he'll be very good, and I think this is a good game for him to show out in prime time on Monday night. And the Broncos, they got their quarterback, Case Keenum. They see themselves as trying to rebuild this team and make themselves better. I still don't know where they stand. I'll have my rankings in a couple weeks when we do those videos, but as of right now, I'm very questionable about both teams and seeing what they're going to do, because they both made some moves. Some going away, some coming to the team. So I'm interested to see what this game brings, but I just don't have as much intrigue as I did last year, because I thought at one point last year, these would be playoff teams. And I'm not 100% sure about that this year. So at number 12, Chiefs, Broncos. At number 11, we have the Denver Broncos taking on the Oakland Raiders in Week 16. Yes, I find it highly coincidental that I put one team's games, like if they have two games on the primetime schedule, I put them back-to-back. I think I've done that like 3 or 4 times. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. The reason why this one is higher than the Kansas City Chiefs game, though, is because the Oakland Raiders are a better team to me. I feel like they have a higher chance of making the playoffs this year. I think, of course, with Gruden, they want to make the playoffs. And this is the last Monday Night Football game of the season. So, obviously, a lot of expectations are on the line with the last game of the season. Plus, we'll see what the Denver Broncos can do. Maybe they can sneak into the playoffs. This could be a deciding thing for the AFC West. I don't think either of these teams are going to win the division. I feel like the Chargers are going to win the division. But if the Raiders are going to be competing here, Week 16, if they're still in the race, they need to win this game against the Broncos on primetime television. So that's why it gets bumped up a little bit. There's the expectations and the the playoff hype around this game is why it gets up here at number 11. So I like I like the Raiders. I think they're going to be good this season. I want to see what they do against the Broncos here. So, Broncos, Raiders. At number 10, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Rams in Week 11 in the Mexico game. You know, I'm excited about that. I'm half Mexican. So, of course, I'm going to be supporting the game in Mexico. But, of course, this is actually going to be an interesting game for other reasons than it being in Mexico. The Kansas City Chiefs, of course, like I just talked about a couple of slots ago, I think they're going to be an interesting team. They still have a really good offense. You know, Tyreek Hill, as you see there, Travis Kelce, a lot of great people on there. And the defense is going to be interesting to see what they do. Of course, Sammy Watkins being the addition on the offense as well. For the Rams, you know, they had the #1 offense in the league last year, and they got even better. They got Brandon Cooks. They are going to be developing Jared Goff even more this year. So that's going to be a positive for them. And then on defense, of course, Marcus Peters. You know, he's going to be playing his former team for the first time. That's a little interesting thing. Aqib Talib comes into play as well. I think he's going to be good in this game. And just seeing how the Rams' offense is clicking here as the weeks wind down in the season. Like, are they still going to be good? Have they disappointed and now they're going to have to fight back? Are they playing above expectations? Which is interesting to say because there are a lot of expectations for this Rams team. We'll see how they play and what the chemistry is for this team. But I think against the Chiefs, this could be a signature win going forward. We'll see how it goes. But I like the offenses between these two. We'll see how it goes. Of course, being Mexican though, it's gonna put this game a little bit higher. So number 10, Chiefs and Rams. At number 9, we have another divisional matchup. Of course, the Washington Redskins taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 13. Now, when I think of Redskins Eagles Monday Night Football, I think Michael Vick absolutely destroying the Redskins, absolutely destroying them. Now, if that game happens, it'll be the worst game all year. You know, because I want a competitive matchup. Now, that being said, Michael Vick's highlights in the game were absolutely amazing. It was really fun to watch him play, but I don't think that's going to happen. I want to see what Carson Wentz does in a matchup against the Redskins on primetime. I think he can cook them up for some really good plays. The Redskins, again, a lot of question marks. I don't really know what Alex Smith is going to bring to this team. I think Paul Richardson is probably, to me, still the most overrated free agent signing. I feel like it was a bad signing, the worst free agent signing. If people want to disagree with me in the comments, that's fine, but I just don't think it's going to be smooth sailings there in Washington. And we'll see how the Redskins play out. Last couple seasons have been just mediocre, 7-9 kind of seasons, and injuries have plagued them. Jordan Reed, I don't really know. But I feel like this divisional matchup between the two is going to be fun to watch, at least on primetime football. So I had to put them somewhere near the middle of the list, and they're here at number 9. At number 8, I have the Washington Redskins taking on the New Orleans Saints in Week 5. Again, I did it with the Washington Redskins. Don't ask. But their game last year was actually really, really good. The Redskins were on top. They had some really good plays. A lot of offense was coming from them, so that was positive for them. But then the Saints came back in the final 6 minutes to erase a 15-point deficit and extended their winning streak. So it was a really good game at the end and just a lot of fun to watch. And I feel like, I don't think we're going to get the same kind of game there. But Alex Smith, Drew Brees, maybe that's a good quarterback matchup here on Monday Night Football. I do like seeing QB matchups in primetime games, as you guys have seen in the first 2 rankings. But in terms of this game, I feel like the Redskins could just maybe bring the battle to the Saints, and maybe it's going to be one of their more interesting matchups. And the Saints, with an offense that I think is just going to have so much production this year, I want to see them produce here on Monday Night Football in high-quality primetime matchups. So it'll be an interesting matchup. I think it'll be a good game. Redskins, Saints, and number 8. At number 7, I have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Chicago Bears in Week 2. Now, this is an interesting matchup because I have ragged on the Seattle Seahawks in the last 2 primetime videos, and I still don't think they're going to do very good this year. But it's interesting that I ranked this matchup here at number 7. Why? Well, first off, the wheels are not going to fall off the wagon that quickly. You know, it's Week 2. They're still going to be very competitive, and Russell Wilson's still going to put them in a competitive matchup no matter what here in Week 2. And second, I feel like this is a great opportunity for the Chicago Bears to show the rest of the league that they are serious this year. I don't know if they're going to be making the playoffs or anything like that. That's yet to be determined, and I haven't even looked that far into it. But they want to prove themselves as a much better team than they were last year. They build all these pieces together. They're going to show it on primetime on Sunday night in Week 1. So they're going to get to do it again on this kind of audience in Week 2. And I think it'll be a good exposure. It'll be good exposure for them just to see how they the defense really tries to stop Russell Wilson and what he does and try to stop him from scrambling. I think that's going to be the biggest thing for them. And then the Chicago Bears offense, are they going to be able to expose the Seahawks defense? That'll be a fun watch. So at number 7, I got the Seahawks and the Bears. At number 6, I did it again. I mean, I look at these lists and I know what's going on, but I just keep forgetting that I put them back to back. Maybe it's just the similarities. I don't know. At number 6, I got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Seattle Seahawks Week 14. Now, in my reasoning for putting them lower on the list in other videos so late in the season was because they're not going to be in playoff contention. Why do I put them here at number 6? Here's the answer. The Minnesota Vikings are going to be fighting for the number 1 seed. You know, there's a lot of teams in that NFC that are trying to fight for the number 1 seed. You got the Vikings, the Eagles, the Rams, the Saints, even maybe some dark horse team. Like, there's a lot of competition in the NFC. It's going to be stacked this year. So, in Week 14, when you need to pick up valuable wins, you've got to fight your heart out. And a team like the Seattle Seahawks might just try to pull off upset mode and stop them from getting the number 1 seed. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, you know, could still be in playoff contention. I highly doubt it. But if they're in playoff contention and pull off a big victory here against the Vikings, could really help out their season. Who knows? It would be very interesting. So, it's all about playoffs at this point here in Week 14, and I feel like the intriguing factor of this gets raised a bit with the number 1 seed. So I got it at number 6 here, Vikings Seahawks, excuse me. At number 5, I have the Tennessee Titans take on the Dallas Cowboys in Week 9. I feel like both of these teams are going to be fighting for a wild card, and as a Cowboys fan, that kind of hurts me to say, but I feel like both of these teams would go for a 5th, 6th seed in the NFL playoffs, and I don't know if they're going to get it, but I feel like there's good and bad things to say about both teams. For the Tennessee Titans, I just don't really know what Mariota's going to bring. Like, his injuries just really, they hurt my perception of this team and this offense. The defense got better, and they, of course, got a new head coach and everything, but I'm just not 100% sold on it, although I do love the addition of Dion Lewis. For the Cowboys, the receiving core is atrocious. Their running group is awesome, and I want to see how Dak Prescott bounces back in year 3. And the defense, I think, is going to be quietly underrated, but we'll see how these teams play against each other. I think this Monday Night Football matchup is going to be good for the both of them. Right in the middle of the season, both teams are looking to prove something, and this matchup, I think, is going to be beneficial for both of them. Even if they lose, if they don't lose that bad, it could show something to the rest of the league. So at number 5, Titans, Cowboys, I think it'll be a good matchup for both. For good old time's sake, I did it one more time with another team. At number 4, I got the Tennessee Titans versus the Houston Texans in Week 12. I don't understand how I did that 4 times. Like, I just looked at the schedule and then ranked it. So that's how it happened. Don't know how I did it 4 times in a row. But with the Titans, like I said, I'm really just questioning the offense. I do love Dion Lewis and Derrick Henry as the running back group, but in the receiver gang, I think it's awful. It's awful. I think I ranked it the 2nd worst in the entire NFL because I don't think there's a lot of talent there. For the Texans, I think they're going to be awesome. I think their offense is going to be great this year. Deshaun Watson, if healthy, is going to be a game breaker. You know, Will Fuller, I think, is always going to be better with Deshaun Watson as his QB. DeAndre Hopkins proved he's a top 4 receiver last year with his great year. And the defense, if healthy, I mean, you got J.J. Watt, Whitney Merciless, Jadeveon Clowney. That's a banger trio right there. And, oh, yeah, Tyrann Mathieu that they acquired. Like, that's just so sneaky. So sneaky. I can't believe they got that. But the Texans are going to be great. Titans, I think, are going to be fighting for a wild card. In Week 12, this could be nice for the division and seeing how both teams fare going into the playoffs. So, at number 4, Titans, Texans. At number 3, I have the San Francisco 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers in Week 6. I think this is going to have a lot of hype to it because it's 2 teams that are expected to do really good for different reasons. The Green Bay Packers, they always rely on the man, Aaron Rodgers, to get it done. They lost Jordy Nelson, but they got Jimmy Graham. They got some players on defense. This Green Bay Packers team is going to be fighting for, I feel like, a wild card because that NFC North is just too damn competitive, and I think the Vikings will win that division. But Green Bay's got a lot of hype because of Aaron Rodgers. With the 49ers, they see that Jimmy G is their guy. They want Jimmy G to be the man. And in this scenario, he can prove himself against one of the best QB, probably the best or second best QB in the entire league in Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's going to be a good thing for him if they win this game. Like, it'll boost his confidence. It'll boost the 49ers' confidence going forward. And week 6, not really going to determine any playoffs or anything, but just going to be a good back and forth game where you want to see the offenses do something and maybe the defenses can provide a big stop down the stretch. It's just going to be a lot of fun, and it's meant for Monday Night Football, you know what I mean? So it's got the old school vibe to it. So number 3, I got the 49ers and the Packers. At number 2, I have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Oakland Raiders in week 1. Now, this is the other week 1 matchup here, and it's a lot better than the Jets and Lions. The Raiders, again, they're coming in with some expectations with John Gruden. I want to see how the offense comes in with the talent that they have. And Derek Carr, I really want to see what kind of season he has. Mitch thinks he's going to have a really good season. I think so too, but again, that's yet to be determined. I don't think their run game is very good at all. And the defense is a little bit of a question mark for me, but we'll see how that works out for them. The Rams, I've already talked about them many times on this primetime schedule because I've gotten a lot of primetime games. They are built to be close, if not the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're looking to make strides even after having the number 1 offense in the NFL last season. They got a lot of talent. Todd Gurley, he built up on his near MVP season last year. Can he continue to do that? We'll see how that goes. But I just feel like seeing this new Oakland Raiders team in week 1 mixed in with how good this Rams team is a great combination. It's a great combination, especially on Monday Night Football to open the year. I know it's the second game, but it'll be a lot of fun to see how these two teams go back and forth against each other. So at number 2, I got the Rams and the Raiders. And at number 1, the best Monday Night Football game of 2018 is the New Orleans Saints taking on the Carolina Panthers in Week 15. A couple of reasons why this one is at number 1. First off, if we're going off from last season to this season, it's just a really good matchup. We saw 3 very good games last year between these two teams, and the Saints surprisingly won every single one of them, which is very difficult to do in this day and age. But the Carolina Panthers, they got better. They actually got somebody to catch a football, DJ Moore. I'm sorry. I mean, I know Devin Funchess was good last year, and Greg Olson's coming back, but they were pretty bad last year when it came to receiving the football. And running, they got Christian McCaffrey. They got C.J. Anderson, which I really like that pickup. I'm going to continue to say that. I really like that pickup. And Greg Olson, Cam Newton, I think has more tools around him to be successful on the offensive side of the football. And the defense is going to be an interesting thing for them. For the Saints, they just look like a very, very solid team. I mean, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas, that offense is solid, and that defense actually stepped up for them, which in the last couple of seasons before that for the Saints, it's been very difficult to say that. So I like what I've seen out of both of these teams, and in Week 15, this could decide the NFC South, and that's the biggest thing. If it has implications in the playoffs, I'm going to rank it higher, and at number 1, I mean, this could be for the division, so going to be huge. So at number 1, Saints and Panthers. So thank you guys for watching. This is the end of the video and the end of the 3-part series talking about the primetime games for the 2018 NFL season. If you enjoyed this series and enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Comment below. Are there games you would have rated higher or lower on this list? And tell me what are your most anticipated games for Monday Night Football in 2018. Subscribe to The Bottom Line View. We got a lot of content coming out. Myself and Mitch actually had a really good meeting yesterday talking about the future content on the channel. I got a couple more topic videos to discuss. He's uploading a video every day in July, so that's pretty crazy. I used to do that back in the day with Over the Top October. I don't know if he's got a catchy title for it, but I don't know. Comment below some catchy titles for July. It has to start with a J in there. So, but he's uploading a video every day in July. My next topic video is going to be discussing the top 5 running back candidates to have 1,000-yard seasons, meaning 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. It's damn near impossible. Only 2 people in the history of the game have ever done it. That'd be Roger Craig and Marshall Faulk. But there are a couple sneaky candidates this year in the NFL that could possibly do it, so you never know. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't on the bottom line view. Peace.